Welcome to Writing a Screenplay. More notes and outline today, a lot to go over. Boy, oh boy, have we progressed. If you take a look at the first notes and outline video, I think we were at 4,000 words worth of notes. And if you look at the bottom left there, you can see that we are now at 10,000 words of just notes. Like the average 100-page screenplay is like 18,000 words. So we're doing good. We're doing well. And I'm happy with what we have. I have more segments to go over here in a second. Uh, More character stuff and some more notes to look at. But it's looking like we're pretty much done. We might be one segment short. We might need to look at the ending on how we want to send this one off. But I think we're almost there. We're gonna look at that. Um, yeah, we started the series on September 25th. I have notes right here. September 25th. It is now November 6th, midterm election. Hope you went out and voted. So we've been doing this for over a month of just notes, just outlines, just character stuff, just random ideas, segments, whatever we could come up with, whatever I could come up with. I just, we worked with it, and things got tweaked, things got deleted, titles got deleted, and we just kept pushing through, and it's really starting to come to form here. So let's look into some stuff here. A log line right up here at the top. I Right now the title Suburban Shadows. I'm gonna be running with that for a while, I think, aka Tales from Warren County, aka the town that dripped blood. If something else comes to me, I might run with it. But for now, I think Suburban Shadows. I think Suburban Shadows. Logline. For now, several interwoven stories revealed the disturbing horrors of the suburbs. It's not bad. It's a little plain. It's accurate. It is accurate of what it is. These are just some sentence fragments from previous attempts at the log line. They have certain keywords that I might want to use. What lies in the shadows of the suburbs, or secrets and horrors lie in the. Highlight them. Blah, blah, blah. Suburbs of Warren County. I was thinking of getting Warren County in there. Um, Experience the boring horrors of suburbia, including cults, monsters, and serial killers. That's something that I might want to have in the log line to just let people know this is a horror anthology based around the suburbs, and we're going to have some cults, monsters, and serial killers. Get on board or go watch another movie if you're not in the mood for it. In horror anthology, we don't need to say horror anthology. I think several story. There's ways of saying it's a horror anthology without saying it's a horror anthology. Although some producers will be dumb enough to not understand it, and they'll be like, the narrative's a little confusing. It seems like a series of shorts put together. Does it? So, let's see what we've done. We'll get to notes later. Segment ideas. I still have segment ideas in case we need to use them, which we might. I think we went over this last time, so I don't. I worked on the party that Melanie's going to a little bit. I don't really have an ending for it. So it's a very loose idea. Essentially, she goes to the party and her drink gets spiked because that's a fucking horror story. Like, this doesn't all have to be monsters and serial killers. I mean, that's horrific. Of course, I probably wouldn't have her get sexually assaulted in my story, and those guys would definitely get some comeuppance because that's how these work. My phone is blowing up. I'm gonna have to throw it away. Um, no more Mr. Nice Guy. The nice guy archetype trope that exists in real life. They're scary. They're possessive, violent, irrational. The guys that think that the incels. That's what, haha. They deserve the women and all that shit. Those guys are fucking terrifying, and they shoot up places all the time now. Jesus Christ, get a prostitute. Haven't done jack with gas station attendant story, which I thought was gonna be one of the little linchpins of this script. It's not. It might not even get in there. Monster Hunter story. Um, we get into that. We get into that. So I'm going to delete that because we're going to get into that a little later here. Serial killer story. I kind of get we kind of get into that too. But I'm going to leave that there because it's different. Detective story. Okay. So here's the outline. You've seen the outline how I've been doing it. I had to do a little table of contents for myself because I was losing it. I was losing it. You got to organize. You have to make this legible for yourself as well. So right now it's looking like this. Act 1 is Invasion, and Blind Date, and The Good Boy, which I believe we touched on last time, so I don't have to go over The Good Boy. I think this is a good Act 1 because we're introducing our story, our film to the audience. So we get a nice little short one with Invasion. Oh, she was a monster the whole time. Okay, and now we're on to this new segment where the narrative's been handed off, and now we're at this restaurant, and you can see another story building. At that point, I think the audience gets it. So then we get a nice story that is Blind Date. It's a good segment. Then things get pretty wild with The Good Boy, which I think might be longer than 5 to 6 pages. That's what these are. These are the pages, the estimated pages. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know about The Good Boy. That could go long. That's the one with the talking dog. Well, he's narrating. Like, look who's talking. 2. Look who's talking. 3. Look who's still talking. Hey, look, there's those animals are talking now. Whatever those fucking movies are called. Danger Things, which we're going to get into because I haven't talked about that yet. The Interview, which is a recent development, came up with that, and that just, I think you might like it. We'll see. Heartache, which came from an idea previously in another video, which you'll see. And I think that's going to be the good meat of the script and the film. Now, we're gonna go over that, and we're gonna see if that is appropriate to be the meat and carry the heft of the film. And Act 3 here, the Forever Home, which is I changed. This was Skeletons in the Closet. This is the ghost story. This is the haunted house, which I believe we have done. Yes, we've done that. I changed the title. I'm probably gonna change it again. I think the Forever Home is dumb. I don't know why I did that. When you're writing at 4 in the morning, folks, sometimes you're like Forever Home because he's gonna die and he's gonna be there forever. The Hidden Light, which is gonna be hilarious. This is the Monster Hunter stuff, and as of now, that's the last. That's the last segment, and look at that! Look at that! That's the main event, the main course right there. It's how we go home. For now, I do think one more segment is required, and it's very important that we go out big. I think the Hidden Light could end it because it's going to reference other other segments, and I think that's a fun way to go out. It's like a medley, you know. Concerts will end they'll end on a medley, and you get all of them again. Musicals do that shit. So let's go over the ones that we haven't looked at yet. Boom, Blind Date we've done. He goes on the blind date with the lady, and she's got her ex-boyfriend in the basement. The Good Boy with the talking dog. They end up talking to the owners of the haunted house in the beginning, which the audience might not realize that's going to come back later, but it's totally going to do that. And that's a fun way that we've handled that. And so that's where we're at now. Um, with the talking dog who's commentating, and there's big domestic dispute. She's cheating on him, and he's hitting her, and the little boy comes in with a gun and shoots the dad, and shit's crazy. And the neighbors are like, what the fuck? So let's actually pick it up there. Um, Luke isn't having any of the little boy with the gun, and when he goes to take the gun, it fires, killing him dead. Chrissy is mortified at first, but a smile does flash on her face momentarily. Biscuit the dog freaks out, tries to wake Luke up, And that might be how we end that. Um, doo-doo-doo-doo. You see right here, I have a note for myself. During the opening walk scene, set up the fact that there's a fucking gun in the house. Bad neighborhood, break-ins, hobby. Let's set it up. Let's set it up. Especially since this character doesn't seem like a gun guy as he is now. He seems he's like that pushover nerd type of person. And they're not really gun people, so I will tweak some of that, especially the Luke character, and make that work. So, boom, the kid kills the dad. The dog's trying to wake him up, and and we're gonna go right into the next segment, handing it off yet again. Um, Danger Things, 13, 15 pages, hopefully. Next door, the neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Dukowski, stand on their porch, unsure of what to do about the gunshots. Yeah, I think plural's fine, or is it just one? We'll see. The gunshots they just heard, what do they do? Do they investigate? Do they call the cops? The husband tells the wife to call the cops. As she runs inside to call, the garage door opens up and out flies Mikey, their 10-year-old son. He flies out of the garage on his bike, Walkman headphones on, which is why he doesn't hear his dad shout at him to come back. He rides off to do kid things, a trading card in his tire spoke, all while Loser by Beck plays on his Walkman. This is the Stranger Things send up, so we're going to have some fun with nostalgia. We're going to have references and shit like that. I'm thinking 90s nostalgia. We get a lot of 80s, late 80s. I think we're gonna be getting the 90s stuff soon. And like I said, this is all just a send up anyway. We don't have to work too fucking hard on it. Um, Mikey passes Luke and Chrissy's as Henry, the boy who shot his dad, runs out covered in blood, just missing the gruesome sight. Oh, Mikey just almost sees the creepiest thing ever. Biscuit follows Henry around the front yard as the troubled kid collapses to his knees. So Mikey's on his bike, and behind him is just this fucking suburban nightmare. Um, which is a good title, but it is a title that has been used before, so I cannot use that. I mean, I could, but I would. That's not how I roll. Mikey passes the Ambrose place as the couple moving in carry in their 50-inch TV. That's a reference to something that occurs in that segment. He's watching a TV. It's this TV. It's subtle, but whatever. Mike eventually rides away from the homes and finds himself on a bike path. He takes out a walkie-talkie, and it's important that it's a walkie-talkie, and we'll see why. And he hits up his new friend Neil, asking for an update. Neil, in his house, is packing up his book bag with survival gear. He tells Mikey he's gearing up and to hurry his new guy ass up. We get some quick new guy banter. Mikey asks if Neil is sure that he saw what he saw. Neil tells him he's not lying, that he was out with Wes in the woods, doing a kid thing. I still have to address that. And a guy in a mask snatched him up and took him to that creepy abandoned cabin out there. Mikey believes him, and despite being uncomfortable, says they need to get Gary and go save their friend Wes. So they're going to Gary's right now. And Gary is the older kid of the group, 13, veteran. And he doesn't believe the story at all at first, until Neil shows Gary Wes's bloody shoe. The boys theorize on who it is. Teacher, old man who worked at the general store, the ghost of Ray Ambrose. Maybe I can fill that in with somebody else that exists in this universe. Gay. I mean, he might be. I don't know. We haven't gotten that far. Gary asks Mikey why he's so gung ho to help. He barely knows them all. I don't understand that one. And Wes in general was kind of a dick to Mikey. So I'm trying to establish hard that Mikey's a new kid, and he's desperate for attention, and he wants to fit in. Okay, you want to do the weird thing? Let's do the weird thing. Please accept me. Mikey plays it cool and says, that Wes was just busting his balls the way friends do. It's apparent Mikey's a loner, but I just accept all that. Gary has a sister, Quinn, who is 15, and the boys are absolutely in love with her, and they are awkward around her. She pops in early in the scene, and the boys are gushy around her. Some good jokes and character stuff, setting up some exposition and setups of their flaws, weaknesses that will get paid off later in the second half of this segment. Later on during the Gary's house portion, Quinn is on the phone, and we overhear her talking to Jill about how nobody has heard from her friend Melanie in a while. So that's a fun little Easter egg on a couple levels. One, we know Jill is, she's the girl in the first segment, Invasion. Melanie's the girl that was on the phone in Invasion, and Melanie was going to a party. Melanie has gone missing. So we're setting some stuff up. At this point, I would really like to use Melanie, and we'll see if we do. We'll see if we do. So that happens. It's she's on the phone, and we get this when Gary tells Quinn to tell their parents he'll be home later, and she's like, "I'm on the phone. Fucking friend's missing." The boys tell Gary that this West business is serious, and he needs to get his gun. And Gary does. He goes to his closet and grabs his rifle, his BB rifle. So yeah, right now, yeah, it's yeah. Mikey has some reservations about the plan, but he's desperate to fit in and all that stuff. So the boys drink some Sunny D, hop on their bikes. Oh, maybe Huffy's. I'm gonna put Huffy's there, so I know. Remember Huffy's? They still sell Huffy's. They still make Huffy's. They had good tires. And they head to the forest. They get to the creepy abandoned cabin and scope it out from a distance. It's all very playful at this point, very adventurous, very Goonies. As they debate ideas, the masked killer comes out and grabs a shovel from a nearby shed. It seems the killer hears them, and there's a bit of a close call. Is he? Did he hear him? Is he going to go investigate? He's close. All that shit. The killer returns to his work, grabs the shovel, and then goes deeper the other way into the forest, leaving the cabin unattended. The three boys don't really know what to do. Do they go after him? Do they go into the cabin? Do they split up? They debate it for a bit, with Mikey being the voice of reason and loyalty, and decide to all sneak into the cabin. They check the windows and can't really see inside. They break their way in, and inside it's a pure horror scene. Bodies hanging in the kitchen, gore everywhere. This isn't a fun, adventurous romp. This is a nightmare. But amazingly, the boys still act as if it's a little adventure, not taking this as seriously as they should, or acting logically. They are a victim of the tropes. And this is, the basis of this segment. All the Stranger Things and all the preteen adventure films and shows where it's just call the cops. Yeah, you found a dead body. That's neat. Call the cop, and it's fresh. Call the, get out of there. So that's they're kind of clueless about it at this point, and I think that could be fun. They search for Wes and hear some movement in the bedroom. Things get scary, but they go inside and find a teen girl tied to the bed in her bra and panties. Gary recognizes her as his sister's friend, Melanie. Melanie's back. The boys ogle her a bit, and it's almost a scene out of Porky's or American Pie. Um, it's a bra and panties girl, so they're normally that's an awkward oh, she's so pretty and oh, so much skin, but it's just like, no, that's not taking precedence here. Terror and survival should be number one priority, but that's not how these boys roll. That's not how any of these characters exist in this subgenre. So they're bound by these these rules. They free her though, and she said, get your phone, call the cops. Where's your phone? iPhone. Call the cops. The boys say that they don't have phones for the nostalgia reasons. She finds that outrageous, then says, "Fine, we'll get out of here and call the cops elsewhere." The boys say she can go, but they're going to stay and save their friend Wes. And she's flabbergasted by their idiocy, but does just that. She bails. Whew, goodbye. She escapes, and the trio go the direction the killer went, where they find him digging a grave, and they see Wes next to the open grave, not moving. The boys still don't realize the seriousness of the situation. Why isn't he moving? Until they get a closer look and see a fly chewing on his dead open eye. Neil freaks out and charges the killer. When he gets to the killer, he stops, reaches into his pocket, and throws a handful of pogs at the man. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'll keep that. That might be a bit much. That might be a bit much. Throwing pogs at your enemy. I would love to get pogs in there, though. Wouldn't that be fun? The killer unmasks, revealing himself as the waiter from the second segment. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. I don't even know if he'll be masked. I don't know. But, for now, it's all fine. Um, yeah. The killer is incredulous at the whole situation and chases Neil a bit, who wisely turns and runs. They're starting to realize here. And he kills Neil in cold blood with the shovel. He then decapitates the boy with the shovel. During the decapitation, Mikey screams, revealing their position. The killer grabs a knife and runs towards the boys. The killer grabs Mikey and stabs him in the heart, but luckily he was keeping his gack in his front pocket, which takes the brunt of it. I don't. Stick with me. Gary takes a few shots at the killer with his BB rifle, but it only annoys him. A chase through the forest begins, and the boys end up going through the sewer. We just had it. Boys going through the sewers. It's so hot right now. So let's have a little fun with that. A little chase scene in the sewers. Why not? Mikey makes it out of the sewer, and oh no, missed a whole paragraph. It's a maze, and Gary ends up coming face to face with the killer and is cut down in a little showdown with some attempts at one-liners and teenage badassery by Gary. It just ends up being cringy jackassery. Well, that's fun sentences. Mikey makes it out of the sewer and runs up a hill, the killer on his heels. There's a face-off on an isolated bridge with nobody within earshot. Mikey tries to talk his way out of it, but it's no use. Wide shots, isolation, hopelessness. Mikey melts down. Just I didn't even know these kids. He didn't really like these kids. He's just so alone. He just wants a friend. And the killer asks Mikey how badly he wants to live, and once again, all that stuff. And the killer steps up to Mikey and he takes his hand. We get that shot of this killer taking him in. Mikey finally getting a real friend, but at what cost? The segment ends with a series of shots where the killer and Mikey dispose of the bodies, putting some of them in this guy's truck. Mikey rides shotgun as they drive off. At a stoplight, the killer and killer in training eye a man named Micah, who rightfully gets creeped out before turning into a private lot of a huge business complex. So that's Danger Things. I think it could be fun. The Pog stuff, the gag, and the Loser by Beck, all the like the '90s hits. If done well, it could be great. It could be hilarious. It could be everything it needs to be, especially seeing them not react appropriately and like living through this subgenre. I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's fun. I think when it starts to turn there at the cabin, that's gonna be great. We get some violence. We get some violence against these kids. Like these kids need to die. I'm tired of watching all these shows. They do the stupidest thing, and you can't kill the kids unless it's Halloween 2018. Get one of those. Yeah, so they have to go. For a while, I was considering the ending. Just he just kills all of them. But I like the Mikey wanting acceptance, just wanting a friend, desperate, and he gets it. He gets it at the end in a twist that nobody saw coming. And that's how it'll end, with them in his car at a stoplight, which I just said, and he eyes a man named Micah, who rightfully gets creeped out before turning into a private lot of a huge business complex. And that's going to take us into the next segment. Before that, I have to address what kind of mask. Yeah, you can tell I'm really unsure about the waiter thing. So, so this man turns into the private lot of a huge business complex, and that takes us right into the next segment. The interview. Micah arrives at a job interview and is greeted by an assistant who gives him the 411, preparing Micah for the interview process and the history of Genetech. Um, that's just the name for now. It's not terrible. She prepares him a bit, tells him it's a very competitive position, which he is aware. This is a dream job, amazing pay, ridiculous benefits. This is the one, you know. We're all looking for that one job that we love and it pays so much and we're all looking for it. Micah might have it. Um, This company, Genentech, does amazing things with technology, VR, energy saving, etc. They're the forefront leaders. We get the exposition out of the way, oh Jesus, early. She flirts with him a bit, but knocks it off when she sees the wedding ring. So we establish uh, wife. She gives him a mini tour of some of the projects they're working on, as well as some of the working areas that might be his if he gets a job. She shows him some of their new VR prototypes and asks if he wants to take a spin in it. He declines and is led to an office where his interview will take place. Things get off to a strange start as a series of managers and supervisors come in to talk with Mike about the position, each one giving a little exposition. I don't know if that's how it's going to pan out, but we'll see. I like the idea of there being, because everybody has like the hierarchy. Like there's the manager, there's the assistant manager, and it's like branching off, and everyone's got a super fancy fucking title. I'd love to see each one of these jokers come in, and I don't know. I think that's fun. I think that's fun. Finally, the hiring manager comes in. He's charming, excited. Is that even who does the hiring? In this, it is. The hiring manager is charming, excited, has too much energy, but is the man who decides if Micah has the job, so Micah is very polite with him. Micah is asked to do a little solving coding to confirm his skills. Oh yeah, it's like a code. It's a coding thing. Programmer, developer. I'll figure it out. Computers. It's computer job. Um, so he does a little test. He's taking it into a workspace where he learns there are a dozen others also interviewing and being tested for the position. Micah chats up Jeff and Melinda, which I'll probably change those names, who sit near him. We learn more about them, as well as their characters who exist in the story too, and more exposition on this dream job. We learn how desperate all of them are for work. The economy and job market are real bad, and these people personally are in bad or desperate situations needing this. I don't know if I have it in this. I think I have it in my character notes. But Micah, his wife, has cancer, and Genentech has very good relationship. They take care of their employees in that regard, and they have relationships with like treatment centers and stuff like that. Basically, this if you're gonna get cancer, work at Genentech. Is kind of what I'm going for there. So we learn about them. We learn about him. The group finds out that there's also a chemistry exercise to make sure they can tolerate the folks that might be their coworkers. So all three move on to the next portion of the interview. The three of them are told by the hiring manager that people would kill for this job, and that's what they're going to need to do. Secrecy and loyalty are key at this company, and they want to know if the going gets tough that they will be willing to do what needs to be done. Killing a person who has volunteered will go a long way for the interview, and are told that whomever does the deed will receive an interview bonus regardless of if they get the job or not. They are told that this is 100% legal and that all the proper paperwork has been signed. They are told there are weapons in the filing cabinet, and just weapons in the filing cabinet just before a homeless man is brought into the room. The manager thanks the homeless man and confirms that his family got the transfer of funds. The three applicants are against this, but it doesn't take long for them to succumb to the opportunity and the money. Once one of them starts considering it, the others follow, and before long, they're racing for the weapons to kill this man. Micah grabs a knife, but Melinda ends up shooting the homeless man dead first. The manager returns very impressed with her, who is shaken over what she just did, or repeating, "It's not worth it." But Micah and Jeff don't seem to agree. They're a bit jealous there. With Micah and Jeff remaining, they are told, unfortunately, that only one opening exists now. And if they kill the other person, the job is theirs. So Micah versus Jeff. This begins the finale. Micah laughs it all off as he realizes what's going on. Figures it out. This is all VR. This is all virtual reality. Makes sense, given the company. He brings up the assistant, offering him the VR set. He must have said yes. Jeff argues against it, saying he doesn't really remember agreeing to that in any way. Micah kills Jeff in a very visceral and brutal and real scene, much to the admiration of the manager. Micah asks him to end the VR simulation, but the manager, of course, lets him know that this was no VR experience. You've killed that man, but you start Monday. And that's essentially the interview. Now, of course, we have a little epilogue that's going to transfer us over to the third story today that I believe you. No, there's still two more. There's so much to go over. How long is this video? I'm so sorry. But that's the interview. Um, so Danger Things is Act Two. This is also Act Two. This is going to be the meat of it. I think it's good. I think it's good. I like the idea of I'm trying to find some of the real life horrors. Like that date rape thing I was talking about, or kids playing and getting killed. Like that's awful. If you're a parent, that's a nightmare. Right now, getting a job in this world is a mess, and like you could see it come to this almost. How far would you go for this job? People are taking pay cuts. They're not getting this benefit. It's very competitive, so they have to take less, and it's getting worse and worse. And I think it would be fun to play with it, but in a horrific way. And I think that's what we're doing. And I think it works. Let me know what you think about it down below. Let me know what you think about all of them that we're talking about down below. The next scene, the final scene of this, is at the local community college where the hiring manager, posts a bunch of flyers on the corkboard. Begin your career now, looking for interns, 80K a year minimum. And a young woman named Jade grabs one. And of course, Jade is going to be a player in the third. Oh, so were those both? Do I only have two in Act 2? No, that should be. I gotta move that. Gotta move that. Caught that real quick. So it's gonna take us to Heartache here, which is the last segment of Act 2. Sorry. This one's good. This one is good. Now, yeah, this one's good. I like it. Let me know what you think. I'm going to get into why I like it for a lot of reasons when we do visual outlining, when we get over to the old cork board. But for now, let's just look at it. Let's see what we got. This is the one. You'll see which one it is. You'll see which one it is. At the local community college, Jade walks to her car after class. Waiting there is her ex-boyfriend, Peta. She isn't too excited to see him. They catch up a bit. Things are friendly, but a little awkward. When she asks how he's doing, he makes some stuff up and tries to sound like he's doing better than he is, but then he's honest with her. He misses her, and it hurts not being with her. You know which one it is now? She tells him he looks well. He brings up the fact that she mentioned possibly seeing where they were in a few months and that there was a chance of getting back together. She says no, and it breaks his heart, of course. He plays it off, says he knew that this was an option, this was a possibility, and he prepared himself for it. He asks some awkward questions about it, if he ever had a chance, when she stopped loving him, all the things like that, just brutal shit. She eventually breaks the conversation, but is sympathetic to his pain, and this is where the fun begins. That night, Peter has trouble sleeping. His chest hurts. He tries Tums and other remedies, but nothing works. He takes a walk, and of course he goes by her house. Whoops. Whoops, how'd that happen? The pain in his chest subsides. He returns home to sleep, where it picks back up again. So we can see what's happening here. The next morning, he talks to his roommate about it, pitches some potential fixes, but none of them work. Peter drives to work, but the farther he goes, the more pain he feels. He thinks it's a heart attack and turns around to go to the hospital. The closer he gets back home, the better it gets. He calls off work and he goes to the ER, but they have nothing for him except for some heartburn medication. This is where some research is going to have to come in. If you went in, with chest pains and stuff, and they checked you out but couldn't really find anything, what would they give you? Would they give you anything? Would they say it's all in your? So I have to know. I'll have to research that. And if you know the answer to that, hook me up. Peter takes the meds and they work. It doesn't really work, but we know why it's working. He stops by Jade's job at a local sandwich shop to pick up some grub, a nice little deli. Um, he goes there to get some grub, where he obviously just wanted to see her. He asks if it's okay that he still goes there because he loves the Italian sub so much. She, of course, says it's fine. And they catch up a bit more and that kind of stuff. And he doesn't mention the chest pains or the medication. Ken, one of the other workers, eyes Peter suspiciously, and Ken butts his nose into their business, and it's evident he has a thing for Jade. Peter asks if they're a thing, and she says she doesn't feel comfortable talking to him about that sort of thing, which is a yes. Peter leaves the shop, and as he walks off, the chest pains worsen. Uh, this is where he figures it out. And the reason the pain, the distance, like, because before he could go real far, but now he can go not as far. And I think because he just experienced this emotional pain right here, that it's like his health meter depleted a bit. And I love that. I just think that's fun and neat. So leaves the shop, gets worse, and this is where he figures it out. He walks back towards the shop and the pain fades. So now the character's realizing what's going on. He goes back inside, tells her his crazy fucking theory. He about to tell her his theory, but instead just eats his sandwich in the corner alone, which is so creepy and so weird and awkward. And it's not helping your cause. You look like the weird, insane ex-boyfriend, Peter. Peter, no. Eventually, Ken has enough, and when Jake goes to the washroom, he tries to kick Peter out. You gotta go. Peter says he can't and makes a big scene, which not only Jade eventually sees, but a policeman who has entered the shop for lunch. The cop tells Peter to leave, otherwise, the cop will cut his lunch short and arrest his ass. Peter leaves the shop, but this time the distance, once again, is much shorter for him to go without hurting. He calls his roommate and gives him the 411. I gotta stop saying 411. But the roommate thinks it's just him being a melodramatic and emotional person. Peter is forced to linger near the sandwich shop. He can't go anywhere. Um, when her shift ends, Jade and Ken get in the same car to drive to her place. This also increases the pain. Proximity rule, you know, same car, all that. Oh. Peter follows them in his car, trying to keep his distance, but not too much. Not too much. As they turn onto her block, he's able to see Ken put his hand on her leg. Once again, the pain increases, this time to the point he's nearing a blackout. He tries to park behind them as she pulls up to the curb, but he ends up rear-ending them a bit because he's woozy now. Of course, they're shocked, frustrated, and annoyed that Peter is here. Peter crawls out of his truck trying to explain himself. He tells her how much it hurts when she's not around, that it's physically killing him. This dramatic scene is too much for Jade, who gets upset and runs towards the apartment building. Her running away from him, distance, brings on the pain, so he runs after her, causing Ken to intervene and fight off Peter, who is in no condition to fight or defend himself. Jade calls Ken off, but he most certainly does not. Peter catches a major ass beating, and Jade has enough. She digs in her purse, she grabs her keys, she gets in the car. Peter begs her not to leave, and she gives him one last sorrowful look before getting in her car and driving off. The farther she drives, the more intense his chest pains get. He watches her car as his vision begins to fade, and he dies because he literally drove her away. As his vision goes black, we hold on that darkness and fade in on a moon overhead. That's heartache. That's my favorite one. I love this. I love this. I hope to Christ that this doesn't exist out there. Oh, that reminds me of fuck. I hope it doesn't. I don't think it does. I've never seen anything. I've never heard anything. I'd hate to have to cut this. I would hate to have to cut this. I love this one so much. Um, And like I said, I think 10 to 15 pages with that. I think that's maybe closer to 10 than 15. We'll see. We'll see. And that's Act 2. That's Act 2. Danger Things, Interview, Heartache. That's going to be the meat of this. And I think all three are pretty fun. I think they're pretty fun. Um, yeah. So, Act 3, we've done The Forever Home, aka Skeletons in the Closet, aka these are both shitty titles. I'm working on it. If you've got an idea, nah, don't give me your ideas. I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't want people, hey, use my idea. I got it. I got it. So we've got that, the ghost story. And the last one, for now, is a 17 to 20 page segment called The Hidden Light, which I basically ripped from my Monster of the Week game, which is hilarious. Um, but we're going to get into this is going to call back to, I think, a couple's other segments, specifically the first segment, Invasion, with Jill, because she's some sort of monster. Um, so let's get into it. We're going to meet some monster hunters here and take this story home. The Hidden Light. The story begins at the light of. Oh, yeah. So, what is going to happen in the previous segment, the ghost story one, is he kills his wife. He's like, I don't know what happened. The police come and they take him away and they drive him off. And they pass a series of buildings and homes that we've already seen. And the cop also passes a church. And that's where we're going to pick up here at this church. The story begins at the Light of Christ Church, where Father Frederick Mackenzie is listening to the confession of a young woman. She talks about being overwhelmed, and it all sounds pretty standard confession stuff until she says she doesn't want to have to kill again. That's going to jolt us, I think. Things get tense as the woman seems to flip a switch, and it seems a lot of seems the priest is in danger. Nobody else is around, and she knows it. She reveals herself to be a lichen, and she knows who the priest is. I know who you are, Father. I know who you work for. I'm not the lichen you need, but the lichen you're gonna get. Father Mackenzie reveals he also knows who she is and asks if she wants to finish her confession before being killed by him. She has none of it. Turns into a werewolf. Let's get the special effects going, guys. But before she can get to the priest, he activates a mechanism that drops the floor out of the confession booth. She falls into a cage in the damp, torchlit basement below. Mackenzie tends to the front of the church, puts out candles. Church business. Father Edmund Toombs arrives, and he isn't an older man like Mackenzie. He's young with the body of a Marine. And he breaks down his latest assignment with Mackenzie. Toombs just exterminated ghouls haunting a graveyard. At this point, we're learning these priests are monster hunters. They use certain lingo, refer to one another as brother, I think, and mention the hidden light in their conversation. That's their team. That's their team. That's the good guy team, the hidden light, which is a real thing, which I've put a bunch of fiction flavor on. Um, but they are like this weird subsection of like Christianity, I think it was, or spiritual folks. I don't know. I don't remember. Father Mackenzie seems a bit depressed and tells Toombs that it's not the old man's fault that Samuel was killed. Samuel being the monster hunter in Invasion, who Jill devours. Mackenzie is having doubts in their faith and mission to protect the world from monsters and the Golden Dawn, who's the bad guy. That's the cult that was wiped out years ago. Aleister Crowley, who is dead, yet they live on hunting and killing creatures. Um, the Golden Dawn, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn is a real thing. Aleister Crowley is a real person. Um, so I'm having fun with those existing elements and putting my own fiction with it, branching off a bit. So Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley, bad guys, um, which was wiped out years ago. Crowley is dead, which is true according to his Wikipedia, or is he? Crowley's dead, yet they live on hunting and killing living creatures. So Mackenzie's having trouble. You know, it's like we did what we were supposed to do. Now we're just out there killing creatures. So he's having a little internal struggle there. Toombs, of course, tries to talk him out of it, and that they're doing the Lord's work, protecting humanity from unnatural evils. Mackenzie tells Toombs about the lichen in the basement. They discuss interrogation methods, finding the lair, acquiring her blood for research, but like a bunch of stuff. So we're learning like this is deeper than two guys. This is a big organization potentially that we have here. This is wide. The two priests go downstairs, where we find that the basement of the church is not what you would expect. It is huge, more of a laboratory, prison, library, armory. There is a meeting room with strange statues and symbols in it. Father Mackenzie and Father Toombs go to the meeting room where Mackenzie is to speak, and he tells a number of other priests/hunters about Samuel being killed by shifters. They're going to take care of the shifters tonight because they have the audacity to stick around. We learn that these people are aware of a lot of the killers and monsters and ghosts in the area, and that it's not just this city, but across the country and world. Nowhere is safe. Evil is winning. So they might know about that killer in the woods. They might know about Ambrose, the ghost. They might know about what Genetech is up there doing. Mackenzie and Toombs take the church van and arrive at Jill's house. It's a church van, bro. They break in, trank dart Jill and the dad, but the mom pleads for their lives. Mackenzie has a moment of remorse and is considering his options. Should I let them go? But Toombs has none of it. Tells her to say hello to Crowley in hell, and Mom says, no, Crowley isn't in hell. And Mackenzie, who's on the fence about freeing these people, imprisons them. You know, doesn't allow the execution, doesn't let them go free. He hears Crowley might still be around. Lock him up. It's imprison him. Jill and her family are interrogated at the church. Mackenzie wants answers regarding Crowley. The old man loses his mind hurting these people, but he gets his answer. Crowley has been living on Rosemary Lane for the last 6 years, finishing what he started at the Bullskin House, where Crowley began a failed ritual that takes 6 months. The goal, at the end, bringing forth a Duke of Hell to do his bidding. Now that's supposedly legit. This whole little section right there, that's supposedly happened. He bought this house in Scotland, I think it is, for isolation, because he needed 6 months of isolation to do this very complex ritual to bring forth this demon, and it got canceled. He couldn't go through. There's a bunch of theories. One of them is just like his order was having like squabbles, so he's like, I have to go to New York now because these assholes are idiots. So I think that's what actually happened, or the politics of his little club. But I don't know. You could have a lot of fun with the why. But that's true. He did. I mean, who knows what's true? Who knows? I think it's fun. I think it's fun. So, but he's alive. Crowley's alive. He's picking up where he left off that one time. He's gonna bring a Duke of Hell. Mackenzie and Toombs mount up with the big guns of the Hidden Light. We basically get the opposite of the opening segment, seeing the siege from their point of view. They clear the creepy house where Crowley's supposed to be living, and there's nothing. The other priests get plucked into darkness by a mysterious entity. Mackenzie and Toombs find a couple clues that reveal a basement under the basement. Crowley is down there completing the ceremony, of course, but Mackenzie is going to stop him until Toombs intervenes. Toombs was a double agent working for the Golden Dawn, and Crowley the whole time. One of the final pieces needed for the ritual is the blood of a priest, and Crowley gets it. So that's the Hidden Light. Crowley's alive. Ritual. Demon is brought forth. Credits? Don't know. I love the idea, and I might have this in my notes somewhere. Hope that didn't just kill my audio. Of I think I do have this in my notes. The lichens, pack returns to kill them. Tombs. I don't know. I'm just gonna get that down for now. So yeah, that's the hidden light. We get this weird good cult versus bad cult thing, and monster hunters and werewolves and people cultists who were supposedly long dead and bringing forth the demon. Like we go big, we go home on a big one. This isn't this weird company that's like kill this homeless man. Like this big stakes, big stakes, and it looks like the bad guys win, at least for now. We'll see. We'll see. So that's where we are. And yeah, down below I have a bunch of character stuff that I've been working on. I'm working on everyone. Eric's the what, that's a different name than I used. Um, Crotech. Um, yeah, just a lot of character stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Need all this stuff. Micah from the interview. Um, this is where I think I have that his wife is currently battling breast cancer, and this job would help a great deal. And more on Jeff and Melinda from that segment, and Nathan and Jen. All notes, 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 notes. Write down as much as you can, as much as you think you need, and then some more. So that is my outline as it exists now. All right, here. I like the hidden light ending, the script, the actual ending. I don't know. Do I want the bad guys to win? Do I want the werewolf pack to come and kill Tombs? Maybe stop the ritual? Do maybe Jill and her parents, the shifters, shapeshifter? I don't know. But I'm so close. I have everything is pretty much, and there's a handful of details like that I need to solidify. But I think we're good for the most part. I wouldn't mind getting one more segment and maybe throwing it in here, just another 5 to 7 page segment, just in case I don't max out on these when I'm doing them. Because as it is now, if I hit the max numbers, I'm good. I'm good. But if I don't, and even worse, if I only hit the minimum numbers, it's no good. So I wouldn't mind one more segment right in this gap here. But we'll see. I have options, obviously. Bunch of options right up here. I don't know if it will be I don't know if we'll see the party with Melanie, getting her drink spiked. Obviously, she ends up in the cabin. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. But I'll let you know. So here are the notes. A lot of them are still the same. Um, After the Forever Home, maybe pick up the next segment with the cops, handing off that segment that way. That's not what we're doing. We're going with Danger Things. Oh no, 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 that's a different one. That's oh, there's so many threads, so many threads. Should Eric's ex that he mentions in Blind Date be a character and show up in another segment? I don't want to get too carried away with the interconnectivity, but who would that be? The Lycan, the woman in Valentine's Day. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. I have a lot of romantic relationship stories, or ones that could be tweaked too, and possibly having this happen around Valentine's Day and making that gimmick work could be a thing. Obviously these stories are dealing with relationships and how people react to them in certain ways. Some are violent, some are clingy, some handle them well, feel sorry for themselves, obsessive. Like people are all over the scale here. I don't think I'll do that. I don't think I'll do that. Work Genetech into other segments, billboards, name checking, etc. Oh hell yeah! If you don't think Luke, who's working on his laptop, isn't gonna name somebody, yeah, that's gonna be easy. I'd like members of the Hidden Light and Golden Dawn to have symbols and identifiers. Yeah. This is the symbol for the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in real life, right there. Um, it's a visual medium, so having that kind of stuff helps, so why not? The man Chrissy has an affair with currently does not show up in any other segments. Should there be an allusion or full-on reference, callback, and revelation as to who this is, something to toy with. Just like the thing above. I mean, maybe Samuel, the hunter. You know, just it does. Not everything needs to be tied together, but it is kind of enjoyable. So that's gonna do it, guys. I'm so sorry that this video is this long. Was it like an hour? I'm so sorry. But we had a lot of work to do. We went from 4,000 pages or words. I wish 4,000 words to 10,000. Now we're under. I deleted too much. 10,000 words. So a lot has happened. We had to go over it. We had to see where we were. Maybe one more segment to put in the middle. Gonna do some thinking on that ending. But I think we're there. I think we're there. So um, I wouldn't be surprised if the next episode in this series is visual outlining. We're going to do note cards. Note cards. We've been doing note cards forever. You know, everyone knows about screenwriting. Note cards. It's in all the books. But it's fun and it's super helpful. And we'll get into that in whenever that video comes, which might be the next, might not. But that's going to do it for this episode of Writing a Screenplay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.